Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And this video I'm going to be continuing in the psychic abilities playlist. You can check out all the other videos that I have on psychic abilities and their various benefits and how to develop them in this playlist. But this video is on channeling and trance healing. What exactly is that? What is this channeling that everybody is speaking of? How do I know if I'm a channeler? So on and so forth. We'll be covering some ground here in this video. So channeling, the way I speak of it and the way I'm speaking of it now, is where a person, the channeler, communicates with or receives information from a non-physical entity, such as spirits, angels, guides, your higher self, or others, undefinables. And this includes conscious channeling, where the channeler is fully aware and awake, and trance channeling, where the channeler enters into a trance, such as Edgar Cayce. He would go into a trance. He was also called the sleeping prophet. And so those of you that don't know about Edgar Cayce, you can Google him. He's one of the fathers of modern New Age thinking. And not quite sure if he would be happy with that moniker, but it is what it is. And he did a lot of channeling. Most of his work was based on his channelings. And he would go into sleep or a sleeping trance where he was kind of there, but mostly not. It was a deep kind of sleep, and his higher self or his guide would speak through him and communicate accurately things of a healing nature. So it's a really interesting story around him. Really go check it out. So, what are the benefits of channeling? Like, why channel? Why are all these people channeling? Well, obviously, to answer questions which help us in our day-to-day lives, for one, as people seek for solutions, especially solutions that are outside the box, that are going to elevate us and uplift us as we apply these solutions to our lives, but also for spiritual growth. It enhances personal spiritual development and understanding. Guidance and insight, provides guidance, wisdom, and insight from higher beings or the universe. Emotional healing. It can help and resolve emotional issues and traumas. Connection to higher self strengthens the connection to one's higher self or inner wisdom. It can boost creativity, provide new ideas and solutions, such as in your business as well, right? So, and this is where the question kind of intersects. How do I know if I'm channeling or if I can channel? Well, everyone is a channeler. Everyone can channel, and most people do without realizing that they are. Artists can channel, musicians can channel, for example, visual artists, of course. People in the medical field, right? They just channel an insight, channel a download, channel the information. Now, the channeled information works also with your subconscious. It flows through your subconscious. So the more information or the more books or library or vocabulary or concepts, experiences that you have in a certain area, or generally speaking, the easier it is for the information to come through clearly and accurately, because then you don't have to pull it together to make sense of it. So most people are like, oh, do I have to be educated to do this? When I say that, no, it's not about that. It's about, for example, spirits trying to tell you an apple orchard, and you've never seen an apple orchard in your life. You don't know what it is. You've never heard of it. You've never seen it. And you don't know what is spirit talking about. So the way it would come out would be, oh, I see a wide open space, and it's lined, like dotted or lined with rows of trees, and the trees kind of bear fruit and blah, blah, blah. So you're going to describe it, and it's going to be a little bit of a guessing game, a charades kind of game, because then the person who's hearing it is going to have to make sense of it. Right. So we often hope that the information comes through in a way that makes sense to others if we're channeling for other people, but sometimes it really gets hung up on the stuff that you have unresolved in your subconscious, or you simply don't know. So the more that's organized down there, the better it is, in a sense. So everybody kind of channels. You can do it spontaneously, of course. You can do it intentionally, as in having a book where you write down your channelings, do automatic writing, and you practice it. You can, of course, nowadays you can record it with your phone, right? So it's always There are ways to go about it. You can paint it. If you're a visual artist, you can just let something take control of your hand and your brush. And how many artists say they already heard the music? Lenny Kravitz really recently did an interview where he said he already hears the music like fully. And then he starts humming it and bringing it through. And it takes a little bit, but it eventually comes through. But the music already exists, he says. It's not something that to him, it's not something that he per se creates. It already exists. He hears it. So in a way, that is channeling as well. Or not in a way, it is channeling, the way he described it. So how to prepare to go about channeling? It's a pretty straightforward process, but it does need a lot of feedback from others, and it does need a lot of practice. Okay, so don't be fooled by the ease of the steps because a lot of it has to do with taking down your resistances to the information that you're receiving, because you can distort that information based on your biases. So let's say political, that's, political readings, and you have a bias towards a certain candidate, then that reading is going to be skewed because of your bias. So most of channeling and mediumship and other things like this is learning to, and this is why it's so much of a personal development. And I do recommend it for everybody to learn it because you develop yourself personally, but you learn to remove your biases and your judgments, or to at least become aware of them so that they don't block your reading. Okay, so to prepare for it is you need a quiet, calm, beautiful space. Yes. Practice deep breathing and meditation to clear the mind and achieve a relaxed state. You can do that. That would be step number 2. Then set intentions. This is really important, is to set your intention for why you're channeling and what you hope to achieve and learn, because otherwise you'll be pulling through anything that happens to float by. So you have to really set an intention, and that will help you also keep your channel clear. Then raise your vibrations. This is also important because same thing as with mediumship as well. You need to raise your vibrations into a higher vibrational frequency. And usually that comes through laughter and joy. So it's good to be laughing before you're channeling, not talking about any too serious or in-depth topics. Listening to high frequency music, chanting to raise your vibrational energy, anything to get you into that space. Be open to receiving messages without judgment or expectation. And this is the biggest thing, is the expectations, right? That people place on themselves can be just as blocking and limiting as the expectations that you place on spirit. So you learn to just let go. Sometimes you're going to have an amazing channel where you're like, oh my gosh, this was a book. I need to put it out there. And then other times you'll hear crickets chirping and you're wondering if God and all your guides have left you. It just is what it is. So it's there are varying factors that play in with channeling: time, space, energy, frequency, and everything harmonizes and aligns. The flow is good, but sometimes it just doesn't, and it has nothing to do with you. So you can't take it personally. So you learn to drop your expectations and see each channeling as an experiment in flow. So keep a journal or a recording device to document your messages received. So experiences can differ in channeling. Some people might hear voices, see visions, or get impressions, physical impressions. Some people say they felt a hand on their shoulder, or they feel a guide in their aura. So there are energy shifts that can happen, feelings of energy movement, tingling sensations, warmth, cold air, you name it. Another thing that people sometimes feel is the emotional release. When emotional releases and old blockages are removed through channeling, when a deep insight or transformation, perspective shift, once you've gotten that. So gaining clear insights and answers to questions, you can experience that, but the more you practice, the better you get at it. So just practice, 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 practice. Again, super important when you're practicing, don't do it after arguments or any kind of stressful situation, because you're going to be in a low vibe frequency. And when you're in a low vibe frequency, guess what you attract? More low vibe. Yay. So you want to make sure you're in a good place. Now, channeling is also, I have to reference the mental health side of things too, because some people try to avoid healing themselves mentally via the spiritual route, because they believe that, if I'm mentally unstable, that means I'm meant to be a shaman. And I have to really say that this is not the full truth. Okay, like it's not the full truth. And because without that mental stability, you cannot be a solid bridge. So it's really important, because a lot of people, they overdo themselves, right? When it comes to spiritual work, they stretch their boundaries too quickly, too fast, and sometimes they get into mental health situations, right? Or they already had mental health situations, which caused them to see certain things and perceive certain things true. However, that doesn't mean you're meant to work with it. That doesn't mean you're meant to. It's sometimes it's just a sign that, oh wow, there's a breach here. There's a crack in the wall, y'all. We need to like reseal the house. Like it's not necessarily immediately a sign that this is something special, that this is, because again, once again, we're all psychic to varying degrees, right? We're all meant to work with these senses, because there are senses, plain and simple. It's like one person saying, oh, look, I have the gift of sight. I can see everybody. I can see. Yes. But that gift of sight doesn't make you, put you in that position that you would like to put yourself in. So I have to really say cautious, because this work has been thrown out there as easy as for anybody to do, but I have seen people that have done some damage to their lives as a result of it. And so have fun with it, absolutely, but the other side is there too. So let's see, proficiency in channeling typically develops with practice and patience. Yes, practice, 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 and be patient with yourself. Have someone who can give you solid, constructive feedback, so you don't believe that regurgitating your subconscious is channeling, okay? And that you really recognize the difference in energy shifts, and you realize when it's a channeling and when it's just your subconscious emptying itself, okay? So that being said, very straightforward and direct. I don't want to dance around the the hot soup, as they say. And so let's dive into trance healing. Now, this is very similar to channeling, except that it is mostly of an healing energy that is being transmitted. So maybe not as much talking. Sometimes there is talking. It's a form of healing where the healer enters a trance state to channel healing energy or work with spirit guides to facilitate healing for another person. So it involves being connected to spirit guides, being connected to angels or other non-physical entities who actually aid in the healing process. Now, an example of this would be, for example, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Everybody knows about him, or most people do by now. And everybody also knows his blue guides that many people have seen, apparently, that have helped in their healing process. So there are entities on the other side of the veil, or interdimensional beings, that are interested in assisting humanity level up and heal. So the benefits of trance healing would be, of course, aid in the healing of physical ailments and conditions, helps in releasing emotional traumas and negative emotions, promotes mental clarity and can assist in overcoming mental health challenges, facilitates spiritual awakening and personal growth. Deep relaxation and stress relief are common outcomes. Okay, so that's a big one, because we know that our world, and the world that we live in today, is high paced, fast paced, high stress, go, 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 full on, full out. And so trance healing can actually help the body de-stress and come back into its natural frequency, natural state, which promotes healing and health, obviously. So to do this, again, same thing, practice, practice, practice. You ensure the environment is quiet, comfortable, free from distraction. Use deep breathing, meditation, guided imagery to enter a relaxed trance-like state. Now, again, the same thing. You want to do this when you're in a good high vibe. You want to make sure that the days you are working, you're not communicating with people that trigger you or set you off. You want to come in like really grounded, open, happy, and free. Okay. Clearly state the intention for healing and invite the presence of healing guides or energies. Allow the healing energy to flow through you to the recipient, either through hands-on techniques or visualization, remaining open and trusting, trusting in the process and remaining open to the guidance and energy that is being provided. Okay. So again, when you're closing your session, then usually, or when the session is being closed, the practitioner brings the recipient and themselves back to full awareness and grounds both. Okay. So what you can expect from a trance healing session or a healing session is both healer and recipient might experience warmth, tingling, or other physical sensations. A lot of people have told me they can feel the energy that is flowing from my hands, right? They can feel it as warmth or something, just, like a slight pressure that's on them. The emotional releases may happen. People have suddenly started crying, or they've suddenly started laughing, or out of nowhere, they didn't even know why, but the emotion was being released from the body. Then there's a noticeable shift in energy and relief from symptoms. The healer may receive intuitive insights or messages regarding the recipient's healing needs. This is, again, what happened, for example, to Edgar Cayce, but also to many other healers. But as an example that you can look up is that more information or insight was given through an insight into the life story or the lifestyle of the recipient, or what they would need, such as herbs or a certain type of foods, or things that they should not intake or partake of. So both healer and recipient, this is another thing where I feel thankfully we've moved forward, because I've been saying this for years, is that you can, even if you do everything right, you can deplete your life force energy as a healer or a provider. Finally, people are now starting to realize that, and it's no longer being sold as if you're doing everything right, then it uplifts you, elevates you, you gain more energy, and you're not taking from your own energy, and so on and so forth. You always are working with your own energy because you're holding a vibrational state, you. And that has to come from an authentic place within yourself. And in order for you to connect with a guide. So this can sometimes be very energetically taxing depending on who you're working with. And it's not that you're holding that vibrational frequency for the person that you're holding with for them to tap into and drain you of your energy. You're holding it so you can meet that person where they're at, and you can meet spirit where spirit is at, and you can be the bridge providing the frequencies for the other person to lift themselves up to. So both healer and recipient may need some time to fully recover and integrate the healing experience. In both channeling and trance healing, it's essential to approach the practice with respect, with openness, ethical considerations, ensuring that all actions are for the highest good of all involved. Thanks for listening, you guys, and I hope you participate in some healing groups that I will be putting together. And for that, make sure that you're on my social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that you also check the description box below this video if you're interested in learning more, joining a group where this is being taught. Thank you. Bye.